But he could feel the demanding race consciousness within him, his own terrible purpose, and he knew that no small thing could deflect the juggernaut. It was gathering weight and momentum. The imperfect vision plagued him. The more he resisted his terrible purpose and fought against the coming of the jihad, the greater the turmoil that wove through his prescience. From the moment the jihad had chosen him, had felt himself hemmed in by the forces of a multitude. Their fixed purposes demanded and controlled his course. Any delusions of free will he harbored now must be merely the prisoner rattling his cage. The excerpt I just read is an amalgamation of quotes from Frank Herbert's Dune, revolving around the internal struggle of the main character, Paul Atreides, and his ability of prescience, or if you're unfamiliar, his ability to see into the future. The dynamic between Paul and his foresight is, simply put, difficult to be a part of. On one hand, Paul recognizes the great potential of his special power. He acknowledges the fact that he is of a higher type of being, set apart from the men around him. His prescient ability is a natural advantage over others, as it allows for the almost ensured possibility of achieved greatness. On the other hand, such an ability can be overwhelming for one man to bear on his lonesome. The prescient mind can ensnare and manipulate its victim into building a dependency on it. The user is constantly at risk of being enslaved by such grandiose power. Paul often finds himself wrestling with his true purpose, wondering if he really has any influence over his own actions, or whether he's nothing more than a puppet to his prescience. It occurred to me throughout this book how closely Paul's struggle with his prescience resembled that of a man's struggle with his dreams. Both men, having been gifted extremely powerful capabilities, are subjected to a kind of psychological torment. These men have come to obtain a unique set of abilities that a select few ever come across. So in turn, they must also come to suffer a type of pain that most men will never experience. In this video, I will attempt to explain the parts of this psychological torment that take the greatest toll on men. Of course, with some help through passages from Dune, as well as share my claim as to why, despite how horrifically damning they can truly be, why I believe dreams to be the pinnacle of human capability. I'd like to start with what I believe is the most obvious connection: the illusion of free will. Men with dreams often find it difficult to withstand the burden that is their own mind. It's truly an unwavering force, the mind of a dreamer. Because no matter the inevitable comings of life's cruelties, no matter the shock or the pain, the prejudice or the judgment, no matter the cold stares from stagnant men, or the heartbreak from loving women, these unstoppable punches can beat them down to a pulp. And yet it won't change a thing, for these men have but one objective, a single priority: to fulfill their dream. But such a demanding force is difficult to bear. Dreams have a possessive nature. They envelop and pull on men as if they're dogs on a leash. Regardless of the extreme effort one can put into ridding himself of this desire, he will never escape it. For from the moment they're conceived into existence, dreams latch onto men, and they fester into bindings stronger than sin. A passage from the book reads, He clenched his fists at his sides, trying to halt the visions. He wanted to flee from his own mind. It was a beast come to devour him. I've only my vision and wish I didn't have it. I'm dying of prescience. Did you know that, Duncan? Perhaps what you feel won't happen. What? Deny my own oracle? How can I when I've seen it fulfilled thousands of times? People call it a power, a gift. It's an affliction. It won't let me leave my life where I found it. Paul is imprisoned by his ability of foresight. It has trapped him inside a perpetual loop of suffering. He indeed has the power to do great things for humanity, but these things can only be achieved at the cost of his own sanity. And all the while he's being driven mad by the issue of free will through his prescience. He must simultaneously bear the burden of an unshakable sense of doubt. Another passage reads, Paul's mind had gone in on its chilling precision. He saw the avenues ahead of them on this hostile planet. Without even the safety valve of dreaming, he focused his prescient awareness, seeing it as a computation of most probable futures, but with something more, an edge of mystery. As though his mind dipped into some timeless stratum and sampled the winds of the future. It was as though he existed within a globe with avenues radiating away in all directions. Yet this only approximated the sensation. He remembered once seeing a gauze kerchief blowing in the wind, and now he sensed the future as though it twisted across some surface as undulant and impermanent as that of the wind-blown kerchief. Uncertainty is in itself a certainty when chasing a dream. There are no orthodox avenues when traversing an unpaved road. You may find traces or clues that indicate men have attempted to travel here before, but ultimately, you will be the one forced to till the land. You will be the one ordained to carve a path for others. Indeed, this is by no means an easy task. How can you be sure the path you pave leads to your desired destination? And who's to say you won't be overcome with exhaustion in the middle of your journey? Dear dreamers, you tread on a different kind of terrain that requires an astute sense of caution, and with that caution comes a necessary doubt. A perennial impulse that pleads with you to turn back, all the while knowing the attempt would be futile. If you were to turn back now, it would trigger a complete disarray of your identity, the total and utter destruction of your reality. The only thing that lies welcoming a man with dreams on his retreat is death. These men must continue moving forward, else they risk losing that in which they live for. Every fiber of a dreamer's being craves this release, but it will be denied him forever. To Paul, the sound was like moments ticking away. He could feel time flowing through him, the instants never to be recaptured. He sensed a need for decision, but felt powerless to move. If you have a dream, you must endure the agonies that come with bearing a thing of such enormous magnitude. But perhaps I've yet to talk about the piece of all this that harbors the most misery. That is, the knowledge that these men cannot confide in anyone to share their pain with. In Dune, Paul is the only man on the planet of Arrakis that possesses this unique ability to see into the future. Similarly, in the real world, men with dreams often find themselves adopting reclusive lifestyles and introverted behaviors, because to try and confess their monumental dreams to the commonplace man would be an act done in vain. It's as if a curse has been placed upon them that hinders their ability to build a real and honest relationship. It inherently impedes one's capacity to develop a connection, because a dream is something that supersedes the desire for human bonds. However desperate these lonely men may be to connect with another, however hard they may try, they will always hit this blockade of incurable disconnect. The collective mental atmosphere of the temple ate at his psyche. He could sense that element of himself which was one with those all around him, but the differences formed a deadly contradiction. He stood immersed, isolated in a personal sin which he could never expiate. The immensity of the universe outside the temple flooded his awareness. How could one man, one ritual, hope to knit such immensity into a garment fitted to all men? Now, I think at this point, most of you watching probably take me as a cynic, but that could not be further from the truth. Yes, I understand that many, if not most, of the things I said in this video were negative, or at least contained some form of pessimism in them. Maybe I've instilled fear or worry in those of you out there that really do have dreams, but I can assure you this was not my intention. That despair you feel within you is simply the consequence of a man ripping the veils to reveal the naked truth. The purpose of this video was to not only explore the mind of those with a dream, but also to let those people know that they are not alone in their suffering. I am here, and I have faith in your ability to change the world. I am a steadfast believer in the idea that if you have a dream, and I mean truly have a dream, and you are given the chance to pursue it, then you have a moral obligation to see this one thing out. This is why I believe dreams to be the pinnacle of human capability, because they call for an inhuman amount of courage to chase after. The terrifying reality of dreams is certainly all true, and you will feel it most at the beginning of your pursuit. But once you begin to bear the fruits of your labors, and you finally catch that glimpse of how much good you can do in this world, you will look back and laugh at how ridiculous you must have been to even have considered setting such a thing aside. This world will tell you that dreams are things of fairy tales and fiction, but I've a horrible secret to share. Dreams are real, and I'm confident in my claim that they've the potential to lead humanity into a future that defies the very societal limits we believe to be true to this day. So, I leave you tonight with these words. No matter how exotic human civilization becomes, no matter the developments of the machine-human interface, there always come interludes of lonely power, when the course of humankind, the very nature of humankind, depends upon the relatively simple actions of single individuals.